Hello, I'm Dr. Sheets. I'm chair of the psychology department here at Indiana State University, and I wanted to share with you some of the financials of the psychology program. When we admit grad students, we try to do so only when we can provide some sort of financial assistance. And there are two different forms of that assistance might take. The first is what's known as an assistantship. An assistantship is actually a job on campus, right? You might have had where you did your undergrad classes that were taught by grad students. Well, those grad students are usually on an assistantship. So when we offer assistantships, there are two levels. There's a 15-hour-a-week assistantship that pays, at least right now, about $6,600 a year. And then there's a 20-hour-a-week assistantship that pays about $8,900 a year. Now, which do you get? Normally, for first-year students, we try to offer you a 15-hour-a-week assistantship. And what you do for that is you're assigned to a couple different faculty, not necessarily faculty in your expertise, but faculty in the department. And you usually assist them with their undergrad classes, right? You grade some papers, you might do some library research or stuff like that. In a rare case, you might be asked if there's something you might be asked to give a guest lecture, for instance, in a class, or administer exams, those sorts of things. Your second year, if you're interested, ordinarily students get a chance to teach. Usually that's introductory to psychology, although sometimes more specialized courses are available depending on what your focus is. Now, for clinical students, in their third and fourth year, they're no longer on departmental assistantships. Then they're doing placements out in the community. About half of those community placements actually pay. They pay about the same level as the university assistantships do. But what we want you to do is to get the experience you need to prepare yourself for your ultimate career. So lots of our students do take unpaid placements, and when that happens, we do try to offer you some sort of teaching opportunity if we've got it in the department. Usually there's not many choices beyond teaching that I can offer you at that point, but we've been pretty successful at being able to make sure people have some sort of funding so that they're not totally out of money those last couple of years, though it really is dependent on whether you want to teach and your availability at that point. The other kind of financial assistance that we typically offer is what's called fee waivers. ISU technically says we don't have tuition, we have fees. Now those fees, like everywhere, are substantial. For in-state students, our graduate fees this year, and we don't know what they'll be next year, but they'll probably go up. This year, it's about $426 a credit hour per in-state student, and almost double that. They're $837 a credit hour for out-of-state students. Now, when you're receiving an assistantship in the department, we're usually able to waive a whole lot of that. Typically, we can waive all but about $60 a credit hour. That's $60 a credit hour they don't let us touch. So that can get things down quite a bit. Now, it's far easier for us to do that when everyone's in-state, right? Because that waiver actually comes out of the department budget. I don't get to keep it, but it means it's taken away from other students if you stay out of state. So we encourage everyone to try to become an in-state resident as soon as possible. Usually, it doesn't take a lot. It used to take a whole lot to do that. Now, if you arrive in early August, sign a lease, change your driver's license and that sort of stuff, usually when you present that evidence, you can switch to in-state right away. And that saves you a lot of money too, because in the clinical program, I think you take about 21 credits a year. We can only waive part of the fees for up to 18 credits. So those last several credits you've got to pay on your own. And so it cuts down quite a bit if you can, for your cost, if you can become a state resident. So I encourage you to do that. Talk with the older students. They'll tell you what they did. But that's a nice thing to do for yourself, and it benefits the department. If you stay out of state, it becomes very hard for me to budget you for subsequent years. Now, since you're only on assistantship the first 2 years, we can't guarantee that I can continue to do fee waivers for the third and fourth years. But so far, they've allowed me to do that, and I can't necessarily waive all the fees all the years, but I can usually waive a substantial chunk even in the third and fourth year. Again, that's dependent on budget funding, and we can't project what that'll be in the future, but historically that's been the pattern. There are also a few credits that you take in the summer of your first and second year. Actually, a very few all years, but first and summer you take a course or two during the summer as well. I can't guarantee waiving those, but again, historically speaking, we've been able to cover the required summer courses that people have taken. We haven't always been able to waive the fees on electives, but we have on required courses. So those are the two kinds of financial assistance we can provide, and if you have more particular questions, I'm happy to take them if you just email me at the department, virgil.sheets@indstate.edu. I'll try to get back to you or forward the question to somebody who can actually answer with real numbers. Thank you.